Outback truckers. Steve Graham's race through the desert
Maybe the Tanami did have a last little crack.
takes a sudden turn from make to break. Turbo's bleeding money
That's f***ing put me $3.5 grand out in pocket.
as his run lurches out of control. For young trucker Will McKay, it's hard rock and hard knocks
Massive gear up, hard on your truck, hard on your trailers.
on an urgent run to the races.
I've got a fair bit of pressure on me to get it there.
I can't be out of here. That was a big rock in the middle of the windrow. Christ, that'd take out a diff.
Veteran trucker Steve Graham's in trouble. He fears a rock has damaged an axle. He's deep in desert country. Help is days away. The only person Steve can rely on is himself. He left Perth 4 days ago on an epic 6,500 kilometre trip through Central Australia to Halls Creek and back. That's like driving from the UK to Saudi Arabia. Steve and his dog Teeny have already survived bruising roads, shifting loads,
People don't like to receive their freight broken.
and a bushfire.
When I get close to it, I will stop.
Now Steve's on the second leg through one of the bleakest places on Earth, the Tanami Desert.
This is one really, really lonely spot on the planet out here.
Any serious damage, and the nearest mechanic is 600 kilometres away.
We got lucky with that rock. Everything's looking all right so far.
His luck needs to hold. A critical job waits for him back in Perth, 3,000 kilometres away, if he can make his deadline.
What it gets down to is if I don't get in on time, then, you know, I blow half a month's income next month. As simple as that.
Steve's already half a day behind schedule after unloading hassles in Alice Springs.
This is going a lot slower than what I thought.
Now he has to survive one of Australia's toughest roads, the Tanami track. The heat is blistering. The surface, truck busting. As Steve crosses the border into Western Australia, the track gets even worse.
And as you can see now, corrugations, and they're starting to get hold of me and shake us around, so...
It's punishing stuff, and Steve will need to endure 7 hours of this. In Western Queensland,
Oh, the ram's collapsed.
Turbo's world is crumbling.
Die, you thing. Give it Get it. It's got no brakes. None at all.
Turbo and best mate James are on a punishing 4,000 kilometre trek from Brisbane to a drop-off in Charters Towers and then on to Darwin. It's been a difficult time for Turbo's business.
It's completely
After struggling for weeks to get a decent load,
It's been pretty tough.
now he has 4. But the pickups haven't gone smoothly. And there's been wind damage to a $30,000 custom-made trailer.
It's actually blowing the walls out.
With his business at stake, it's make or break for the king of the road. Right now, Turbo and James are stuck in a rut.
No brakes, no handbrake. Last serviced in 2006.
Okay, well, I'm going to have to get a chain on that.
Time for some serious grunt.
Follow the road! Follow the road!
I pulled the handbrake on and the piece came out from the floor, like it just broke out.
When you took off down there, I had the envision of the truck in that tree.
I should have actually went through there just for a bit of a bush bash.
With the wayward water truck delivered, it's time to carefully load a car. Turbo's making sure it doesn't budge
And it's locked.
for the next 2,500 kilometres. With 2 cars, a fishing boat, the entire contents of a house move and the trailer, Turbo's fully loaded. He may not be on dirt, but the roads are still rough.
The way this road rides, which is almost like surfing.
Battering his load. Deliver damaged goods and he risks not getting paid.
So I'm a little bit cautious and a little bit worried.
A passing motorist spots a problem.
You've got the 2 back straps on the little car have come off.
So, righto.
These loose straps need to be fixed quick, or this car could become scrap metal. In South Australia, 24-year-old Will McKay is about to tackle the most important run of his year.
It's massive, and I've got the main load for the races.
A pressure-packed supply run through the baking heart of the country.
There's pretty much a whole lot of nothing out here, really.
Will's heading to Birdsville, a famously remote town where crowds are gathering for one of the biggest parties in the Outback, the Birdsville Races, an annual event that keeps the town alive.
Yeah, they need the races to survive, really.
Most of the food and drink for this crowd is in the back of Will's truck. His run takes him up one of the most notorious roads in Australia, the Birdsville Track.
Smash his gear up, hard on gear, really hard on your load, hard on you. Just bloody, it's exhausting, just bounces you around all day.
Getting his freight to the races isn't Will's only challenge. For the intrepid few who live out this way, the roadhouses, cattle stations and outback pubs, Will is their lifeline.
Yeah, we really rely on Will to get here.
He may be young, but this trucker is no rookie.
As a young boy, instead of doing homework, I just go out to the shed and help Dad change tyres and grease trucks and slide under trailers, and so yeah, I've always loved trucks.
From his base in Adelaide, Will heads north, delivering supplies to remote outposts along the 1,200-kilometre stretch to Birdsville. Right from the start, the pressure is on.
Keep coming, Mum. Keep coming, keep coming, keep coming.
Will's family are working flat out to get 40 tonnes of vital supplies loaded.
This is our busiest load of the year. We've got everything from mattresses to bloody beer. It'll be a big day.
But things aren't going to plan. Not all of the produce has arrived.
We'll be running late because that trailer there, we should have had loaded yesterday.
One of the 2 trailers is sitting empty.
So the pressure will be right on now to get both trailers loaded.
Will's customers depend on him for nearly all of their supplies.
You start getting a bit stressed when it all rocks up late, and of course everyone wants it on. They all want it up there.
But at this rate, Will could be days away. In remote Western Australia, Steve's made it to Balgo, the midway point of his 6,500 kilometre trip. After a long day on the Tanami, he's still behind schedule. He's hoping for a quick and easy unload.
I've had a win here in Balgo, the suggestion that they unload the whole container on site. That means 10 minutes. They'll lift the 2 items off and I'm out of here. I'm going to Halls Creek.
Precious hours saved here means he could make it back to Perth in time for a lucrative job. Steve's just bought himself half a day.
Right, mate. Thank you. See you, Angie.
It's a moment worth celebrating.
There's my new hat. Beautiful. Another trip, another hat, another day.
Steve's on his way to Halls Creek to pick up his 3rd load, but still ahead, 300 kilometres of tough Tanami track.
The race against the clock starts again tomorrow. New load, new destination, and new race.
He's nearly done with the Tanami, but he still needs to conquer a series of long, steep climbs.
These are the hills going into Halls Creek. It's a challenge every time.
Steve's going to have to call on all of his truck's 18 gears.
You go from 6th or 7th or 8th gear down to 2nd or 3rd and bang, there's a load straight on.
And draw on every ounce of juice from his 600 horsepower engine.
Put the power on, you got to grab a gear.
Producing blistering engine temperatures.
Up goes the turbo, 450 degrees Celsius.
After days of truck-smashing, dog-thumping dirt track, Steve finally gets relief on the smooth bitumen.
Yeah, this is the stuff we've been looking for a few days. 1,000-kilometre run up the Tanami makes you appreciate the stuff.
But the Tanami's not done with him yet.
I've got oil wetness inside this wheel hub, which indicates to me that I have a wheel seal failure or possibly a front wheel bearing.
This wheel steers his entire truck. If it gives out on the road, the consequences could be disastrous.
I can't, in my own mind, load this road train up. You blow this thing. Best case scenario, you blow this thing, you've got a blown out tyre and a buggered front axle. Worst case scenario, I don't even want to dwell on.
In remote Western Queensland, Turbo's got a problem. Straps on one of the cars has slipped off. He's got to pull over before he loses the car.
Hang on. I put the strap over the top, didn't I? Yeah.
It's a puzzling Houdini act.
This car is a magician.
He can't afford any further escape attempts. Customers are waiting on him. And adding to the pressure, his mate James has to make a flight home for his karaoke business.
I've got to be out of Darwin in the next, say, 30 hours.
He's counting on his best mate to get him to the airport.
And if we can't be back on Saturday, they're going to say, well, look, we'll find somebody who can do it.
A quick pit stop, and they'll be on the road.
How are ya? Yeah. No. It's Takai.
Swipe the card. Comes up stolen.
Oh,
The card is blocked, and so are they. In South Australia, Will McKays' vital trip to supply remote communities on the Birdsville track has been thrown into chaos.
You start getting a bit stressed when it all rocks up late, and of course everyone wants it on.
Deliveries to the truck yard haven't turned up.
Always something comes along and stuffs you up.
Will's dad is determined the family's reputation isn't damaged.
You just got to get it there however you can.
Finally, the supplies arrive. And the race is now on to make it all fit. This perishable freight must survive extreme desert temperatures.
Yeah, we have to run the fridges all the time because it's, 50 degrees outside. And if it stops, then you either got to fix it or go like hell to get there. Just getting the last one in. It looked like we weren't going to get it in, especially when shit starts coming up late. Got there in the end. They don't like it when you leave anything behind.
It's been a long day. But Will's journey is just beginning. He wants to make 500 kilometres before he stops for the night. Dawn, and Will hits the road. He's 100 kilometres from his first delivery.
It's just 6:15, so looking pretty good for time. It's our first major stop coming into Maree. We've got 3 pallets to unload.
For pub managers Phil and Maz, Will is a very welcome sight.
Yeah, you're right, Phil.
It's like Christmas when Will turns up, all the fresh food, it's our lifeline.
Just takes a bit of rain or something to go wrong with the truck and you miss out and it's just panic mode then.
Before Will sets off on the notorious Birdsville track, he must check his tyres. Too soft and they'll be at risk from tyre slicing rocks.
Make sure all your tyres are pretty good before you go on the dirt.
But there's a problem.
Got a flat tyre, it's just gone a bit doughy, so I'll just better put a bit of air in him.
The tyre isn't inflating.
Can't quite get this on it.
The valve is jammed.
I'll grab a screwdriver or something.
Will faces a dilemma. Push on and risk a blowout, or fix it and waste precious time.
If we keep going any further, it sort of will pop off the rim.
In the top end of Western Australia, Steve Graham's under the pump. His wheels have taken a thumping and a suspicious oil leak could be catastrophic.
Can't go down the road. Possibly have a front wheel go flying off in the bush.
He's worried it's a shattered wheel bearing.
I can't afford a front wheel bearing failure.
If it is, there'll be a vital clue. Metal fragments in the oil.
There's no metal in that oil. That's good. That's good. If that wheel bearing was chopping itself to pieces, this oil would have shiny particles in it. I'll simply top up the oil on this hub and keep an eye on it.
In 4 days' time, Steve's booked for a big job in Perth, but he's still 3,000 kilometres away. He needs to get his next load, a mobile office, 2 mini diggers, and dozens of wooden pallets onto his truck quickly.
I need to fill up that space out to the gate.
It's a jigsaw, and the pieces need to fit.
Now, are we going to get another one in there? Good job, man, good job.
Steve senses trouble.
Just hold it, fellas.
A badly jammed pallet could destabilise the load. For a perfectionist, there's only one solution.
Fellas, we might have to just take them off and start from scratch. We can't...
A call from a client distracts him. And the loading crew take matters into their own hands. forklift is bogged. Without it, loading's going nowhere. In Mount Isa, Turbo's stranded with a blocked credit card and a tank full of diesel he can't pay for.
So my credit card's coming up as stolen.
Best mate James has an urgent deadline.
Oh, shit.
A flight home to keep his karaoke business alive.
If I miss the plane out of Darwin, it's not going to look good for our company.
And back home, there'll be no shoulder to cry on.
The wife has said that if I'm not back in Brisbane on Saturday, to not bother to coming home at all.
Turbo needs a guardian angel, one with a handy $1,000 to spare.
How you going, Wayno? Trying to get out of a sticky situation right now. Thanks, mate. See you, mate.
One of my customers, he's in Turkey. He's got it all sorted out.
A regular customer has given him an advance.
So he's going to be paying it now.
Thank you, darling.
Too easy. All right, catch you later.
All right, getting out of Isa. I was beginning to think I'd have to rent a house here.
We're not fucking around today either. We're fucking on it.
After a lucky escape, the boys can finally start eating into the 1,600 kilometres ahead of them.
Cheese, grated carrot, beetroot, chicken and then ham.
They'll need to drive through the night. Turbo takes the day shift while James gets some kip.
Hey, you right, mate? What's up?
Dry bog, mate.
I'll see how I go. I was trying to get you out.
Right, thank you very much.
So this has now become a recovery mission.
This 53-metre road train is seriously bogged. Turbo needs to push on, but for him, the trucking rule of help a mate always applies.
Righto, mate. Roll them trailer brakes off.
Brakes off.
You ready?
Not moving.
Sake.
This truck's going nowhere. And if Turbo doesn't leave soon, neither is James. At the beginning of his vital desert run, Will McKays delayed. Held up by a jammed tyre valve.
You can see from here there's a bit of dirt and stuck in the valve.
If the tyre's too soft, he risks a blowout.
Where we're going, especially on the stone of the Birdsville track, really cut the tyres up sort of thing. The rock really sort of just melts it. It's like hot knife in butter, really. It's just a bit bent down a bit, so I can't quite get this on it. Oh, there it is.
At last.
Just hold it in there like that. Yep.
He can pump up and get going. But this fix has eaten up valuable time, and his next customer can't afford to run dry.
I can't muck around too much now. I'm not wondering where I am.
Next stop, the Mungarani pub. To get there, he must conquer the Birdsville. A treacherous 600-kilometre dirt track lined with tyre-shredding rocks. After a bruising run, Will pulls into Mungarani. Population 3.
You got 3 pallets for the pub.
On this desert track, this is the only watering hole.
Hey, Will.
Will's even got a brand new shirt. Want a cup of coffee?
Yeah, I have a coffee.
Every year, thousands visit this iconic pub. To mark the event, many leave behind offerings, including hair.
Righto. Grab your fork, I reckon, Phil.
At one of the busiest times of the year, this Outback oasis was on the verge of disaster, running out of beer.
We thought we were covered for the races. We did a stock check and was 75 cartons down.
For pub owner Phil Gregork, Will's one of the best.
I wish I could have more drivers come up here like that. Everything is away before he leaves. He's an old generation with a young heart.
With vital supplies waiting,
I've got a truck outside, I go need unloading.
Get your asses all outside.
it's all hands to the pumps. Will's got to keep moving. His next stop is desperate for fresh food. A remote cattle station 5 times the size of LA. 4 days away from a time-critical job, Steve needed this pickup to go without a hitch.
We might have to just take them off and start from scratch. We can't.
But a distraction has seen this loading get bogged down.
This has become a bit of a job. A classical error.
If Steve's to get away, the crew needs to dig the forklift out, and fast.
That's it. Nicely done. That's lovely, fellas. Beautiful. Thank you, mate.
Steve knows this load will move. It needs to be well secured.
You do have to be serious about putting plenty of straps on it.
He's ready to hit the road. But there's another delay.
No one loves changing tyres.
It's a wrestling match. Each tyre weighs 50 kilograms. Time has beaten him. He'll have to rest up for the night.
Do you know what I'm thinking about right now? All the flavours cold beer comes in.
Next morning.
The glassware's clean, the washing's been done. I'm ready for the road.
Steve's got 3 days to cover 3,000 Ks if he's to make a big job back in Perth. From here on, he needs a smooth run. But the troublesome load is back to haunt him.
I don't like the way that's starting to move. It's actually moved out a fair way.
Just 50 kilometres in, and it's already shifting around. A danger to Steve and other drivers.
You can't be going down the road dropping pallets on people as you go past them, so...
On the brutal Birdsville track, Will McKays hit the infamous Simpson, one of the world's largest sand dune deserts.
Through here, all you see is red gibber, flat rock. This flat goes on for miles, and then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, there's a sand hill.
Out here, temperatures can reach over 50 degrees. Break down, and things can go horribly wrong very quickly.
You've got to make sure you've got plenty of water and food just in case you break down and get bogged.
3 years ago, a man perished here just hours after getting bogged.
Even though I'm out here all the time, you just sort of can't get complacent.
Will has one last drop-off before Birdsville, a 1.6 million acre cattle station. But to get there, Will must conquer a series of truck stalling hills.
And we'll go over a big sand hill there, big steep one. Hopefully, yeah, not get stuck.
To do it, he must lose weight.
You can't be too shy going up them, otherwise you'll get halfway up and get stuck.
If he does get stuck, a cattle station desperate for fresh food will go hungry.
This one here is really steep. It's just hard on the clutch, hard on everything. If you miss a gear, it's pretty easy to get in trouble. You just pick a bit of a lower gear and just, yeah, pin the ears back. Starts to struggle as you get higher up.
Just trying to get this truck out. He's pulled off the side of the road in soft ground.
Turbo's stop to help a fellow trucker is not going well. Freeing the bogged truck is proving impossible.
Well, it's not working pulling it this way.
Stay longer, and this Good Samaritan risks missing James's critical flight out of Darwin. Turbo's in luck. Another driver joins the rescue mission with a trucker's saviour, a grader. With a pulling power of over 20 tonnes, graders have saved many a truck.
All right, mate, we'll leave you with it.
With the arrival of the cavalry, Turbo can hit the road. It's over 1,000 kilometres to Darwin. They still need to unload, and James has a flight he can't miss. Next day, Turbo and James are within striking distance of Darwin.
The hard yards are still to come. Got to get everything offloaded this afternoon.
There's no time to spare, but Turbo decides to make an unscheduled pit stop.
I'm getting people fuel for here.
Not another bloody Sanger.
No.
James's patience is wearing thin.
Strained. It's very strained.
With the pit stop complete, it's a short run to the delivery yard. Turbo's over 8 hours late, and he's got bad news for one of his clients. At the start of the 4,000 kilometre trip, a $30,000 trailer suffered wind damage.
Why would the brake trailer be damaged?
Mate, because it actually come apart in transit.
Okay, well, what you can do with it is you can take it back to where you bought it from. And we don't want, we won't take delivery of it then, mate. We'll talk to them and we'll deal with that.
Shit. Really f***ing those right now.
No delivery means no money, and Turbo's got debts to pay.
Hunter, that's f***ing put me $3.5 grand out in pocket.
Adding to the stress, best mate James has called it quits.
Carries on like an idiot like that, not going to get nowhere. It's been building and building and building, and it's just blown tonight. And call a cab, I can't take any more.
Turbo pushes on alone. As James heads to the airport, Turbo needs help.
My heart's playing up again.
You know, if you miss a gear, it's pretty easy to get in trouble.
On the edge of the Simpson Desert, Will McKays tackling a truck-stopping hill. If he can't make it, there'll be no fresh food for the cattle station.
It starts to struggle as you get higher up. The higher you go, the steeper it is. clear now.
Time to deliver to Pandy Pandy Station.
Pretty exciting, fresh food.
It's been a nervous wait for Kylie Morton, who runs the station with her husband.
The food truck doesn't arrive, then we've got an 800k round trip to Mount Isa, which is our closest serviceable town.
The two of them run a cattle station over 4 times the size of Greater London.
Well, my husband does everything out there. I do everything here. Yeah, so it's just the two of us with 1.6 million acres.
That's it, is it?
That's him.
Will's now on the final stretch.
Welcome to Queensland. The sun shines and the roads are good.
Next stop, Birdsville. But before he can deliver, there's one final check.
We're just pulling into the roadhouse here.
Has Will's precious freight survived one of Australia's hottest, roughest roads?
Everything's still in good order. Nice and cold in here. Stayed at fridge around at -18 the whole way, so all good.
At the pub, they're desperate for his arrival.
Our food supply is right down to looking out the door and waiting for him to drive around the corner. Will's more than a truckie to us. He's part of our community, does a great job. It's a great face to see in town.
How many more, boys?
Fully stocked, the biggest party in the Outback can get started.
If we didn't get our food here, this wouldn't be here.
Happy customers, that's the main thing. At the end of the day, that's what you want, happy customers.
Steve's on the final leg of a punishing 6,500 kilometre round trip.
To do what I got to do, I got to have an easy run, not muck around with freight on the side of the road.
He's forced to waste precious driving time retying his freight.
That front gate there yesterday when I left was in line with this, and it's all dropped across to that side. I've got to fix the problems as I go along, but it doesn't make it much good for getting there on time.
He may be on the smooth bitumen, but now Steve has to deal with traffic. And some of the biggest on the road.
Your whole driving attitude changes when you get down south. You've got to stay focused. And we don't want any mingles.
This 5.5 metre wide load eats up most of the bitumen.
It's a bit of a hold-up, but...
Steve's in the hands of the pilots, one behind and one a kilometre ahead. It's their job to guide passing traffic around safely. Clear communication is critical, but the airways are jammed.
I'll just drop back a bit now. We've got...
Last one here, 137, okay? Roger, comes the wheels, you should be right sitting on the edge, thanks, son.
Are you talking to the southbounder?
The southbounder, sorry, mate.
Southbound behind the big one coming around then, yeah?
Sorry, northbounder to
The pilots called through the wrong truck.
I think so, mate. I just checked for the last one. There's a little LV stuck in between them. Roger. We'll take the one back, mate. Yeah, Roger, you got about a K and a half, mate.
Right, mate, I'll get it cranked up.
Finally, Steve gets the chance to pass.
Those big ones take a bit of getting around, but we do it pretty safely with all talking to each other.
He's on the home stretch. It's been one of his biggest trips ever. He survived shifting loads.
I don't like the way that's starting to move.
Mechanical scares.
I may have a wheel seal failure.
And killer corrugations on two of the toughest roads in the world. It's the end of yet another epic chapter in a legendary career. recently celebrated. At a delivery yard in Darwin, Turbo's suffering.
My heart's playing up again.
The physical and mental stress of the trip has caught up with him. His mate's gone and damaged goods have been rejected.
That's put me $3.5 grand out in pocket.
He takes his heart medication.
Right now, my heart is racing at 1,000,000 miles an hour. So I've still got that trailer. I've got to finish unloading, and I've got to come back, and I've got to put the dolly on and get the other trailer, and then I've got to go and do that. That's what I've got to do. I can't stop.
"20 minutes later, the pill kicks in, and so does Turbo. He's ready to deliver the house move. He's made it, but over 12 hours late, and there's no one to help him unload.
It's a silly question.
It's the last thing Turbo needs. But he's in luck.
Hi, Cops. Brett.
Turbo.
Turbo. Turbo,
Yes.
how good are you, mate? Turbo, the removalist.
On their way home from the pub, a group of blokes lend a hand.
Hang on, guys, hang on.
Oh, here you go. There he is. Come on.
For Turbo, this journey has been a roller coaster. A 4,000-kilometre one-way trip to the top end. With a runaway water truck, damaged freight,
plastic,
and a damaged friendship.
Yeah, I can't take any more.
All to keep his customers happy.
As Darwinites all do, we stick together, we help each other, we get in, we get the job. Now it's time for us to go party hard. What do you reckon, boys? Party hard?
Yeah!
Let's go!
Outback truckers, tell you what, Turbo is a legend.